Mr. President, earlier today, the United States Supreme Court heard arguments in an important case, a consequential case. It's called King versus Burwell. This case was brought on behalf of millions of Americans who've been harmed by the president's unlawful expansion of his unworkable and unaffordable health care law. Sometime before the end of June, the court will decide if the law passed by Congress means what it says or if it means what the president wishes it said. Now, it looks at one very specific and very important part of the president's health care law. The law says that Washington could help subsidize the premiums of people buying health insurance coverage through exchanges established by the states. President Obama decided that wasn't enough. He wanted to use taxpayer dollars on behalf of people buying insurance in the federal exchange as well. That's it. That's the legal question here. The law, written by Democrats in Congress, written behind closed doors, only authorized subsidies for one group, but the president paid them out for another group. The case is not about the Constitution, it's about the rule of law. Now, I was at the court this morning, listening to the arguments, and I expect that the justices will strike down the way the president expanded the law. Time after time, this administration has claimed power that it did not have and taken actions that it cannot defend. The way the administration expanded the health care law is one of the most blatant of these power grabs, because when Democrats passed the law, they got exactly what they wanted. They rejected Republican idea after Republican idea that could have made this law better. They forced it through Congress with absolutely no Republican support. Still wasn't good enough for the Obama administration, so it expanded the law some more. Obamacare is a minefield, and the administration refused to give people the information they need to help them navigate it. The Obama administration knew that this court case was coming well before the enrollment period to buy insurance for this year even started. So did the president tell the American people that these subsidies might be legal or might be illegal? Did he warn people? What did the president actually say? Did he warn anyone that signing up in the exchanges that they might not be seeing the real price of any insurance that they picked? No, the president refused to do so. He knew he might lose the case. He knew it. He knew the risk he was making people take, but the president didn't say a word. People who were just trying to make the best choices for their families, the White House did not tell people the truth about their options. Several Republican senators wrote to the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Secretary of the Treasury, asking them to warn people. We said people need this information. There are thousands of dollars at stake for families, and the Obama administration should at least tell them what might happen. The secretaries refused to level with the American people. Just the other day, the Secretary of Health and Human Services admitted that she had no plan B. Her letter is clear and it is consequential. She admits that if the Supreme Court rules against the Obama administration, the president does not have the authority, she wrote, to use administrative actions to undo the Supreme Court decision. The administration purposely waited to admit that until after the open enrollment period ended. It didn't want to take the chance that warning people might hurt its enrollment numbers. Today at the Supreme Court, several justices were skeptical of the administration's legal defense. I expect the Supreme Court to say that the president must enforce the law Congress has passed, rather than the law the president wishes Congress has passed. If it does, it will help rein in this out-of-control White House. It'll tell the Obama administration that it must obey the law and that the president cannot keep making up the rules as he goes along. The health care law is clear. The President was wrong to expand his health insurance exchanges beyond what the law allows. The President was wrong to use the IRS to make up rules and penalties. The Obama administration was irresponsible for not warning people. Republicans will have a plan to protect the people harmed by the President's action and to create a path away from Obamacare. First of all, our plan will help the millions of people who have been hurt by the White House's decision to illegally implement its health care law. It'd be unfair for families to lose their coverage in the middle of the year just because they believed the false promises made by Barack Obama. So Republicans will help Americans keep their coverage for a transitional period. Second, we'll give states the freedom and flexibility to create better, more competitive health insurance markets, offering more options and different choices at home where people live, not decisions made in Washington. We want to allow states to come up with health care systems that work for them, not the bureaucrats in the nation's capital. We would give every state the ability to create a better market, better opportunities suited to the needs of that state's citizens. It's time for President Obama to stop putting people through all of the pain that this law has created. The President's health care law continues to be unpopular, unworkable, and unaffordable. He needs to finally negotiate with Republicans to give people the reform they wanted all along, which is people asked for the care they need from a doctor they choose at lower costs. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.